I kind of get this feeling that with the Five of Pentacles here, that there is this feeling of not getting enough out of a situation, right? Or not getting enough out of the situation, but there's something that's lacking. There's something that's not completely, that could be something that could be more, but there isn't, right? Now, the other person is kind of in the same boat, but the thing is like, there may be some things that they feel like they're getting out of or they're not getting out of because of the way that they are presenting themselves, right? The Six of Pentacles can indicate a balance or a need for things to be balanced, a give and take situation. And I feel like with the Six of Pentacles coming up with the Five of Pentacles for the other person, this person feels like there's something that's, that either they don't have enough of or they need some more of. And this person feels like there could definitely be a better balance, of give and take or a reciprocation of some sort. There's something that they could get more out of. Maybe they're putting too much into the relationship, or maybe they're not putting enough in. But interesting that both of the mind spaces are going into our Pentacles energy. So there's something that both parties could either use some of or use less of. It's really interesting. It's like this person needs more, and this person may want things to even itself out or have a little bit less to do. Now, the reason, like I said before, the person may be putting in a lot or maybe not, putting in enough. I think the situation also looks like it's imbalanced because of the Five of Cups that's in this reading here. Right, is how they're presenting themselves. And the Five of Cups, as you know, right, this person's mourning over 3 cups that's fallen over, right? They don't see that there's a relationship still there. And I feel like that's where the chemistry card comes back into play, right? Which that's that chemistry, the thing that ties you two together, that thing that helps you, that really works together between you and this other person. That sort of energy is what is keeping you guys strong, not keeping you guys strong, but that is the reminder of things it's the reminder that you two can work things out. But the thing is, there's a lot of loss that's focused here. A lot of loss that's focused, or maybe a missed opportunity. Somebody's looking at spilt milk instead of seeing the situation as potentially getting better or finding a solution to get better. But I feel like, with the situation being the Six of Pentacles in their mindset, that there's some sort of imbalance, and it has to do with something that they've lost, right? I don't think they feel like they're balanced, or they're getting enough out of the situation because of what they've lost previously. But they still have the connection that's still there, and I feel like that's hard to kind of see how things can go forward, or to pick something new if they've always, if they either overcompensated for what was lost. Now, what's really interesting here is that this person's got back-to-back fives here. They not just only do they have the Five of Pentacles as their mind space, they also have the Five of Swords in their present. So, it's very interesting. I feel like both parties have lost something, which is why they're coming from a really interesting place of lack. Like, this person definitely may have lost something dearly to them, or maybe have lost something. They don't feel like there's not enough of something. There's something that's lacking in their life, right? Going into the relationship, they feel like there's something lacking. They know they have this connection, they have this relationship here, but even then, something is missing in that, okay? So, I really feel like with the Five of Pentacles, I really feel like with the Five of Swords, this person is trying to figure out, honestly, I feel like what is worth their, not just worth the effort, but worth getting involved in. I feel like this person may have a bit of doubt going into the relationship, not because they don't feel like they're getting enough from the other person, but what they could lose, right? What is the sacrifice in all this, right? They're gonna give up of themselves, right? No, give something up of themselves, right? In order for things to happen, or they're thinking, what am I getting out of this situation? What am I gonna get in return? They're thinking about what they're gonna get in response to this, and I think this ruthless energy here too, because it can be ruthless energy. And when I say ruthless, I mean like someone that's willing to do anything that they need to do to get what they want. I feel like if they feel like there's something lacking in the relationship, they're going to make sure it happens. So they know they're going to, they're going to make sure what is lacking is compensated for, or to, practically, mix up, if that makes sense. Or they're gonna take action to get what they feel is missing, and that's what they're showing this other person. And I don't know if this person is taking from them, or this is vice versa, or this is a completely separate situation, but is affecting the relationship, right? Now, this could have a lot to do with finances, and it's just affecting the relationship. It could have a lot to do with, with spending time together, right? All in all, I think there's some people, there's someone here that's not feeling the situation as, they know that there's something that's drawing these two together, drawing them both together. But the thing is that this person's willing to do what is necessary to make what's missing or whatever is lacking not that much of a problem anymore. They're trying to do what they need to do to make it happen. Now, the reason why is because of the King of Pentacles. They're committed to the connection. They're going to make it work. This person is not taking no for an answer. Right? They just know that this is not happening. This is not how they envision it. This is not enough of the situation. And I think that with the King of Pentacles here, it's not just committing, but it's also knowing their value, knowing what they're worth. And I feel like this person, to them, they see them as theirs as well. Like, they are, this person's their possession, in the sense of, like, you belong to me and I belong to you. We're together. We're a unit. And the King of Pentacles is someone that's very career oriented and very practical in the sense of, of life, right? He doesn't necessarily focus so much on his emotions, or think too much, or spend time having fun. He's a workaholic in a sense, and the reason why is because he wants to provide for his family. And I feel like this person is going to do everything they can to stabilize the situation. Right now, there's a lot of changes and things that are going on, and they don't feel stable, and they are comfortable in a place of stability because they make that stability happen. So, with the King of Pentacles coming up here, I do feel like this person is trying to stabilize the situation, try to stabilize the relationship as much as they can, because there's something missing in the connection. I don't know if it's missing in the connection because chemistry is here. There's something that's obviously drawing you two together, but I feel like the stability portion of it, either financially or morally, whatever the relationship is standing on, it's not a foundation that's stable for this person, and this person knows it too. I think this is why this situation is going into it, looking at it with the desire to balance things out, to get something out of a situation, or to not necessarily get something out of a situation, but to balance it out for there to be a flow, not necessarily stop and go, or unevenness, right? Things are trying to get, this person's trying to get their life, their relationship in an even playing field, if that makes sense. They want some equality. They want things to balance itself out. Because I feel like, I don't know if this person's been putting in a lot or not putting in enough, but the thing is that there's an awareness of there being a lack of balance here. Now, the reason why this person is coming up as the Five of Cups, right, seeing the situation as a lot of missed opportunities, a lot of loss, instead of seeing that there's potential for this relationship to prosper and grow, is to do with the Seven of Swords. Now, it's interesting here because the Seven of Swords and the High Priestess are not a combination I like to see, especially when it comes to, well, the thing is that I'm happy I don't see is the Moon, because I would be thinking somebody's doing something underhandedly. But the thing is, I think I don't know if there's someone that can't trust anybody. I don't know if there's someone that's like, they feel like they've lucked out on something because they haven't been very forthcoming with how they've been, right? They may be feeling like they've been taking advantage of the situation because they haven't been forthcoming. And I typically don't read it this way, but that's just kind of how it's looking like, right? Now, the Knight of Wands, it can kind of give a kind of player aspect, and I don't really add, me, I don't ever like going there, like saying that somebody's cheated, somebody's being unfaithful, but I am saying this, guys, is that there has been some things that this person may not be feeling too happy about or have some regrets about, right? Because this is the card there can be a card for regret. Same with this card. They're both cards, in my opinion, of regret, but this one is more of a mournful. This is like a loss. This is something that they've missed out on, that they've looked out, and this person's definitely, this is a loss in the sense of, losing a battle, losing something that they're fighting for, losing some sort of conflict. In that situation, that the Five of, the Seven of Swords to me is like somebody has been has either this person hasn't been very forthcoming. Not that they've been lying, but they've been keeping secrets or not being very open, and therefore they feel like they're missing stuff, opportunities. Or maybe this person feels like the other person's not, communicating or being forthcoming. But with the Seven of Swords here, could also indicate this person has been avoiding a lot of situations. So it goes back to this, Six of Pentacles being, has this person really been putting in enough? Has this person realized that there is an imbalance because they may not have put enough, right? Now, at the same time, this person could be feeling like there is, they're taking a leap of faith here. They're being very courageous, but they feel like they're losing a lot of stuff by being so, being so risky, I guess that makes sense, or taking this risk. Because they're truly trusting I don't know if they're trusting their intuition. I don't know if they're feeling like this is the best decision because of how they're presenting themselves. They look miserable. And I feel like it's because they may have had to choose something over the other. It's weird. I don't ever typically see this card as a choosing one over the other. But somebody's still mourning some sort of loss here, which is why this relationship just kind of feels like there is an imbalance between both of them. This good person feels like they're going into it to give of themselves, to compensate for the loss that they have because they haven't taken a chance before, right? Or maybe they're afraid to take a chance, which is why they may need to have some sort of stability here. But ultimately, the whole situation all kind of centers around the High Priestess, which talks about trusting your intuition, trusting your gut, and just, following through with things that may not be truly clear in the moment. It's very odd, this reading, because how everything is playing out. It's like everybody's losing something, but everybody wants some sort of stability. Everyone doesn't want to feel like they're kind of walking on thin ice. They don't want to feel like they're on a unstable ground, especially not with each other. And whatever they're doing in their own private lives, they want to be able to come to each one another and speak about it, and not just kind of be the happy face and and have a good time all the time. I feel like there's some serious stuff that may need to be expressed as well, because the High Priestess is the keeper of secrets. Good or bad, she is the keeper of secrets. And I feel like there are some things that both parties are not saying to one another or keeping from one another that is, that's keeping up a facade, that is honestly not going to work out. Because I feel like this person wants reality, while this person is trying to avoid the reality because they don't want to face what's still hurting them, even though everybody can see that they're still hurting. Let's go ahead and see what you guys get for the wisdom of the Oracle. Oh, wow. Clean it up. That's the card that you guys get this time around. Wow, Scorpio. Okay, so clean it up does talk about, it's very death-oriented energy, right? The tarot card for the Rider-Waite, or any of the tarot cards is death, right? And death talks about taking old and replacing, not necessarily replacing, but making space for new life, making space for something new. The High Priestess is the keeper of secrets, and there's things that honestly both parties know of themselves, but not know of each other. There's some things that both parties don't see. And I think the thing that brought each other together, obviously, was the King of Wands, who's authentic at all times. He don't care about keeping secrets. He don't care about, anybody knowing his business or who he is. He just is all about the experience. And I feel like the thing is that is what brought you two together. But I think the thing that's scary is the fact that there's a piece of you guys that's a lot more serious, it's a lot more dark, and it's hard to even let that person into that wall, right? So it may feel like this person can't connect with you the way that they could, or it doesn't feel like this person can give of themselves, because there may be some things that they're still trying to cloak and hide behind, because they're not really ready to face the things that they're still keeping them from being able to begin a new life. So cleaning up to me is like coming into the situation, being ready to solve a lot of these, these things, solve a lot of these, these issues that are keeping you from being able to start a new life, right? Being able to can truly embrace the connection, embrace this chemistry. There's something that obviously is just drawing you two together, right? This magnetic attraction. And with the Seven of Cups here, with the facades and the fantasy, right? The King of Swords underneath there, it's like there needs to be a truth, both of you guys. What are you guys looking for? What do you guys want? And this Five of Swords is like, this is not a playing around energy. I think there's been a lot of arguments and a lot of like there's either there's a lot of arguments or someone that's very diligent on getting exactly what they want. So I feel like with cleaning it up, there needs to be space made for the both of you to connect. And how you make that space is by coming clean and being open with one another. And I don't think this person here has been keeping anything, but I do feel like this person here may have been trying to avoid some things. And it's hard for them to come out of this because they're still in pain. Or there maybe even this relationship has been affected by that, and they feel like they've lost something, which is why you're feeling like there's something missing in the connection too. Or they're not necessarily missing, but there's something that could be more of. Like there's a connection there and you know it, but it's been nullified, right? There's something that's been, suppressed. There's a suppressed sort of energy to it. No one's just being themselves. Everyone is kind of keeping a secret, keeping it down low, not communicating. And I think, they know that. This person knows that. And I think it's just because they I feel like they're not just only, hung up on what's lost, but they can't let go, they can't see that there is potential for healing, but it requires them to shift their focus away from the pain. And honestly, maybe even communicating what's going on is important. But the Seven of Cups does talk about looking beyond the surface, looking at the situation clearly, right? And, making your solid decision instead of getting, pretty much, astounded and impressed by just the first glance of something. And I feel like it's saying, look at the details. The King of Pentacles, he looks very closely at the details. Seven of Swords, he's just... Okay, this person may need to take a risk at the end of the day. Take a risk and shift the focus away from what has been lost to them, right? Because I feel like maybe they've been in the game for a long time, been free, been open, and not really dedicated themselves to anything, and haven't committed themselves to anything. But that's a hard part for them because of what they've lost probably previously when they last committed to something. So it's time to make space for new love. It's time to make space, and I think it's this whole thing of what your expectations are. There may need to be some space made for that too, because this person may not be able to fit in a certain box that you may want them to fit in. So the Five of Swords is like, okay, do you want this person to be who they are, or are you trying to make them be who they can't be, which is why they're putting up a facade in the first place. They may, right? That may not resonate with a lot of you guys. But be careful with what you're fighting for. Is what you're fighting for truly worth the fight in the first place? If it's like trying to get this relationship to work, is it worth the fight? If this person is not doing the things that you would like them to do, if this person isn't being the way they want to be, if they don't believe in the way they want to believe, in the way you want to believe, is that okay? If not, what's the compromise for this? Because I feel like the Five of Swords can be a compromising energy, and some of you guys may be seriously trying to compromise. But this person's so focused on the loss, it's like it's really hard to overcome. But the only thing you can do is make space. It's the only thing you can do.